with a mixture of hydrochloric acid and water. The hydrochloric acid and water mixture is four parts to one. So basically you're going to add in a container 4 parts of water and then add 1 gallon of muriatic acid. Always add the chemical to the water, not the other way around, because that's a safer way to do it. That way if you have the water, it's always safer to add the chlorine or, the muriatic acid to the water. That way you won't have a chemical reaction. You won't get as much gassing. Where you get the fumes that come off muriatic acid, will always add a chemical to water versus the other way around. Never add water to chemical, always add chemical to water. So we've got our hydrochloric acid water mixture down here. And we've got a cautionary sign letting everybody know that that's our mixture. So to clean out this fin, it's relatively easy. What we want to do is we want to turn our red valves off. I always recommend turning all 3 red valves off. That way you've reduced the water pressure or any type of water flow, be it any direction coming through the converter. To release a little bit of pressure, I always take the inline strainer off. That releases a little pressure from here. Turn that knob and that lets someone see the bubbles going out there. That's releasing some pressure, so it's easier to take the collar off. That's the only reason I do that. But then while I've got this apart, clean out the inline strainer. Make sure that we don't have any paint or sand particulates in there. Put it back in place. And then just screw it down snug.
Okay.
Now that we've got that done, we want to turn our power off to the converter.
I'm going to go to message.
Okay. Basically there are 2 essential plugs. This blue plug goes up to this converter generator, and then there is this black plug here that comes from the generator as well. So that's the straight power to that generator. I only unplug it for safety because electricity makes me nervous. I would encourage anyone, just to be safe, go ahead and unplug it. So we unplug the thick black wire from the outlet, and then the chlorinator pump 1, the blue plug, we unplug. That way we have no power going to the pure comfort generator at all. The wires then run, when you have electricity running in the converter, the electrical runs from the from the generator to the converter through this plug. Theoretically, you should just be able to unplug it here and be safe. However, we still have electricity coming from that generator, and like I said, I'd rather err on the side of safety and not have any electricity. So this just unplugs, and it's one of those male to female connectors. It only connects in one way. So I unplug that. That way our chlorinator is free. Then, utilizing a little bit of leverage there, I just unscrew that collar. Off it comes. And then the fins slide right out. Cool. Then all we do is we take our fins, we submerge it in the hydrochloric acid mixture, and typically when the hydrochloric acid mixture is strong, you'll see bubbling where it will be dissolving that calcium off of the fins. This mixture seems to have lost its life, but that's all right. What we're going to do is we'll change that water, fill that bucket with 4 gallons of water, add 1 gallon of hydrochloric acid. Now, if you don't need quite as much, you can cut that in half. So you can take 2 gallons of water with a half of a gallon of muriatic acid. And that'll still give you the same strength in order to clean those fins off. That happens to be the same solution ratio that we use for the muriatic acid that is used to control the pH in the pool. So we can go ahead, so that way it doesn't confuse anybody. But after we're done cleaning those off, and we'll just go ahead and simulate that we've cleaned those off and given enough time, and I'll come back to that when the recording works. But we go ahead and take our fins, place them back into the converter chamber, and then take our cover, put our cover back on, snug it down, plug that back in. Then we can take our power, plug both of our power cords back in, reactivate the water. We see the water start to flow through there. And whenever we see any kind of bubbling in there when the water is flowing, it's actually that way it's converting the sodium that's in the water over to chlorine to rechlorinate the pool. And that is how we clean out those fins in the converter.
All right. Thank you, David.